I'm so thankful that so many people across country, culture, ways of being, ways of living send me their stories because it gives us a preview or a different perspective of people that have experienced life or live life a different way. And I'm very thankful about that. A few days ago, I did a post where this man was accusing somebody of being autistic, and that made this woman jump into my Instagram inbox to share her story with me. She says, "So I've always been pretty blunt and somewhat cold, and guys like that at first until I don't find them appealing and just move on." She says, "Being neurodivergent is somewhat of a blessing and a curse. I've never truly been interested in dating or having children, which most men I've encountered say they want until they realize I'm serious. To get over being cold to people during the pandemic, I found a local group that gets adults who are on the spectrum together, and we meet with neurotypical people, a male led group, which becomes important, who try to help us blend into society. Personally, I didn't think there was anything wrong with me, but my family was a bit worried about me, so I decided to see what I could learn. In the community, most people do something called masking, and that's just trying to figure out how to blend in with people. It's much easier for me to do with women than men since it's easier to pick up on someone's personality and take on those traits, if that makes any sense. So, one of the tasks to help us women blend into society was to watch certain YouTubers and learn about femininity and how to become less frigid, then use those tips to date. And to be quite honest, those tips would have landed me in some sticky situations. The guys in the group were fed some BS alpha podcast to listen to, and that caused a lot of issues in itself. When I spoke about how I thought it was best to just be ourselves in the group, I clearly just wasn't trying hard enough. I stepped away from the group for a few months, and then a peer invited me back to the group because the male lead was gone. I thought it was a blessing, but I was wrong. The new lead was a completely male centered woman, and her viewpoints were even worse. She suggested the women of the group get on this dating app made solely for autistic people, try it out since it was newly developed. And let me tell you, to be quite honest, it was a show. 85% of the males on the app weren't even on the spectrum, just neurotypical a-holes who wanted to get with someone with no strings attached, since it's easier to be with a robot. Imagine a mix of the worst alpha bros you can imagine from Bumble and Hinge, and they were there, laughing my butt off. I didn't even last 4 hours on the app. The level of disgust I felt was insane. And the new lead of the group pretty much said to expect that because all men do that. At that point, I had enough. And I told her she had me messed up and left. I haven't been back since. I've checked and the group is still active and they've since rebranded, but I'm sure they're still full of Most of the people in the group are between the ages of 80 and 30, and their social skill level, social wise, is between 15 and 25, which is why you think having a group would help adults learn how to become better people socially, but it's not. Even with the practice dates, we got set up with some of the neurotypical people who were sketchy. The guys were pretty much like the text in the video, which prompted me to even message you. The one where the guy is just out of control and accusing her of being autistic, and why don't you laugh at my jokes, and why don't you ask me questions? That video that I did. Okay, she says they'd just say the opposite things like, "It's so great you're autistic. You're not like other girls. It's great you listen more than you speak." But the moment I say that I'm not interested, then the insults get hurled and the more compliments to try to confuse me. LOL. I really tried to find a community locally to make friends like me, but it turned me off completely. The dating app I mentioned before has been completely deleted, but I do know there's a newer one, which you may look into just to show you how the autism community is no different than the neurotypical. The non bears in almost every community aren't too pleasant because once a person plants the seeds of dysfunctional dustiness, it spreads. I attempted to date a non-bear on the spectrum who expected sex because he spent $20 at Taco Bell, then got upset because I paid him back and gave him gas money for his time. Another male who made a particular podcaster his whole personality. The neurotypical men I've tried to date were even more horrid. If I can find my old phone, I'll definitely send screenshots of some of the ways these non bears act because it's actually sad. Sorry it's so much, but this is my only form of social media besides YouTube. The thing is, it's not too much. It's not too much because I appreciate this. Women of all varieties, shapes, sizes, races, cultures need to tell their stories and what they are experiencing. And like she said, the seeds of dysfunctional dustiness. There are seeds of dysfunctional dustiness all over the place. And these non bears, no matter if they're on the spectrum or off, if they are able bodied or they have some kind of issue, it does not matter. Dustiness knows no bounds, obviously. So I do want to make sure that people know, women know, you're not bothering me to send me long messages because we all need to see that our lives overlap in more ways than one. Now she gave me the screenshots of a text conversation, or at least the beginning of a text conversation. She says, so here's a screenshot of a guy I met on the app. We actually met on our school's campus the semester before and oddly enough matched. This was the way he decided to start the conversation after receiving my number and why it didn't last. Y'all, this is how this man started this conversation. He said, morning, love. And then he dropped a peen pic. If you look at the bottom of the star, you can kind of see an outline. I am supposing that is what she's covering up. And so the woman who sent me this, let's just call her Keisha. She says, you have the wrong number. And he's like, this not Keisha? She's like, yes. Wait, who is this? David. We met last year. I just made up his name. I don't know his name. Wait, David who? You mean like last year in like September? He's like, I don't remember the season, but it was sometime last year. It was still warm out. She says, but you know you sent me a picture, right? He's like, of what? You sent me a picture of your peen. Don't play. He says, I can be random. I can take the pic back if you want me to. Thought it would, hold on, thought it would wake you up in the morning. She's like, a peen pic would wake me up. He's like, did it? She says, no. And don't ever do that again. We don't rock with each other like that. And he said, did I upset you? I apologized. This is how these dudes are. She said that they had just matched, and this is what he did. Why are they like this? So after she sends me these screenshots, I'm like, is that a peen pic? And she was like, it was. And how he started the conversation, I blocked him immediately afterwards. That's how a lot of guys were on the app. I think maybe one or two guys who had messaged me were remotely polite, but by the third or fourth peen pic, I didn't even want to chance it. And if that was considered normal, even by the female group leader, I definitely wasn't having it. And then I'm like, sis, I'm exhausted for y'all. Now, she sent me some of the comments on the app where they were leaving reviews. And I think that I'm going to do that in a part two because some of the guys, this is an app. Hold on. This is an app for neurotypical people. This is a neurotypical social app. So this is an app for neurotypical people. It is a social app, I guess a dating app as well. And I guess the men were not getting the responses that they thought they were going to get on a social media app. But that is because, like she said earlier, the dustiness, they're just spreading their seeds. It doesn't matter if they're neurotypical or not, they're still dusty. So I'm going to read some of the reviews in the part two. There is an app for neurotypical people, but it is still dusty. And that sent me these screenshots. She says, as you can see, even in these reviews, a lot of the talking points you bring up come into play with these dating apps. I'm thankful for women like you who give every woman from every walk of life a chance to share their experiences. Now, I'm going to read some of these reviews. This person says, a total disappointment. When I first installed this app, I had high hopes for making positive connections on here as a person with mild autism and ADHD. And indeed, I did make a few. I now communicate with those individuals on other social media platforms. However, recently I had a well thought out post deleted by the Hiki admins without an explanation. I had explained without offensive language that I would no longer consider dating American women. So I guess the admins may have taken issue with that. Also, most of the individuals I talked with were rather flaky and inconsistent about responding to. The mental virus of wokeness seemed rather pervasive on this app. Even when I posted on a private group that I was leaving the app, the admins disabled my access to the app before I could properly communicate with others in the group. I do wish I knew more about the app creators so I can organize a consistent and determined legal, nonviolent, social, and economic type of boycott of them and their interest. Farewell, Hiki. I'm sorry, just kidding, Hiki. I hope your app shrivels up and collapses. Is there any wonder this man was blocked from the app? Like, literally. People on Hiki. Like with all social media, this app is crowded with simps and toxic women. The women call the men incels, and the men agree with them. The people on this app give autistic men and women on this app a bad name. There are a few people with common sense and good character on this app, but since they have common sense, they leave the app entirely. There we go. Worst dating app ever. If you are a man trying to find your woman, best of luck to you. 90% of the users are male. Men will comment all over your post, and women will be absent. I've clicked the heart button so many times, my phone would get piping hot, and I've received zero matches or messages. I am a handsome man, but all of the female profiles are either outdated or the algorithm completely ignores me. I never want anything more to do with this app. Please keep in mind that women are opting out of dating, and the dating apps are overwhelmingly male. These men should get a hint, but they're not. And they're continuing their path of dustiness, their path of pathetic dustiness. That's all it is. They're just sprinkling their ash and dust wherever they go. Friend/love difference unalives it. You can select friend or love on each profile, and it just unalives the apps, makes it more confusing than what it already is, and highlights the issues between autistic men and women. 90% plus of the female profiles are friends only, while the male side is reverse. It's a fact that autistic women tend to find autistic men undesirable, so making a friends only option is this app's way of inflating the female ratio. Women will complain about how awful the guys are that want to get touched in real life. Want to get touched? Why they want to touch them? Okay, I'm sorry. Want to get touched in real life, calling them sexist, racist, whatever, because they are desperate and awkward because they are autistic, while guys complain that none of the women actually want to date them. I think that is just the world in a nutshell. That is literally just the world. Women are simply opting out. Women are not interested. Needs more matches. I don't know what less BO. I don't know what BO got cut off. It says has a lot of bots. Has a lot of bots. Never match with anyone on this app, and it doesn't help people who have autism like me find love. Needs more local people. Not enough local people. It feels more like a place for people to not find love. This app is awful and needs to be fixed to more accurately help people with autism find love. And this is the last one she sent me. Datings and ghosting. All I wanted on that website was to connect and find a love interest that fits well with me for my love for anime. But after some tries, I never gotten any answers back from these interests. I feel like ghostings are more of a common thing in the app or what, which kind of hurts people like me. And plus, some of the women in there are undiagnosed. So pretty much if these people aren't active at all, just be sure to kick some of them off the platform. So this dating app sounds like what other dating apps are experiencing right now. Men are clearly lonely. Men are the ones that are really wanting relationships, and women are saying, get someone else to do it. So we are at an impasse because, as you can see from these reviews, that the men desperately want to chit chat with women, desperately want to connect with women, and they are not finding that. And I don't know, it's just the entitlement that they feel that they are owed this connection, but I don't see what they are doing to make themselves attractive to women. Women are not going for this. I don't know what to say to help them, but they need to do something to help themselves. Getting mad about the app and leaving a negative review about the app won't help them connect with a woman in real life. Y'all, let me know what you think about this. Do you have any experiences with dating neurotypical people? Are you neurotypical yourself in one way or another? Let me know your experience. Jump in the comments, like, comment, share.